Hey, this is the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, and founder of Global Force Wrestling. And you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Interactive Wrestling Radio. Here we are again with another episode of Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. My name is James Walsh, and our guest this week is JEFFJARRETT. Can't count how many times Mr. Jarrett's joined us on our show. He joined us on some of our sub-shows back in 2006, but the first time he was on our show, as we discussed, was in March of 2003, as part of NWA TNA. It was still NWA TNA at the time. And it's a really, really good thing to have Jeff Jarrett on the show talking about Global Force Wrestling, his new venture. He's back in good graces with his father, who we also had on the show. And we talk a little bit about his time with TNA, his creation of Global Force Wrestling, and we even cover a little bit about Joanie Laurer as well. A little bit of housekeeping. Want to dedicate this show to the memory of Balls Mahoney and Joanie Laurer, Chyna, and hope everybody really does sit down and enjoy this one. It's a good one, and our recap's a lot of fun as well, so check it out right here at WrestlingEpicenter.com, Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the interactive interview.
Hello, this is Jeff Jarrett of NWA TNA Total Nonstop Action, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview.
Back to Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com on the Newsmaker line for the first time on a one-on-one basis with us since March of 2003 is the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett. Mr. Jarrett, how you doing today, sir?
Since March of 2003? Wow. So what are we going back 13 years?
We're going back 13 years. I'm going back through my back catalog of old interviews, and I just posted our 2003 one to YouTube, and here we are again, just a little over 13 years later.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and ready to talk all things Global Force Wrestling and anything else you want to talk about wrestling related.
Absolutely, and we're going to go over a couple of things, but first of all, you mentioned Global Force Wrestling. Really excited for the upcoming tours. You guys are hitting the East Coast hard, May, June, and July. You're hitting the Northeast in June. You guys really are back on the road again. How has it been going for Global Force Wrestling in the year 2016?
It's really, we started with our first show in late January in Poughkeepsie and had some great media partners up there. And as we were lining the rest of the calendar year up, we call them co-branded shows where we go in and partner up with the local or the regional promotion. And just one thing has led to another, and things have, quite frankly, just really exploded for us is the amount of dates that have lined up. And, just got back from Germany this weekend and New York City last night for some meetings. But as we head into May, in June and July, as you said, it's going to be super busy. We hit the Mid-Atlantic. We're partnering with MCW in Baltimore and going to Penn-Layer, Virginia, and then heading down to Hickory, North Carolina in May. And like you said, the Northeast Stars, Scranton and Eastport and Keyport, New Jersey, and then we head into Indiana and Illinois as we get up into July, and more shows are going to continue to roll out. So we're excited. Baseball shows, the Grand Slam shows, the co-branded shows. We've got a fair date that we're going to be announcing real soon. So I appreciate you asking about it, but it's super excited, and we're glad to hit the road and get out there and let people enjoy the VIP experience and then our night of action and combining the Global Force stars with the local promotion. It's really really, really has some cool magic, and we are super excited about it.
Absolutely, and I'm excited to see some of these shows when you guys head out to Arizona, hopefully one of these days.
I'd love to. I've wrestled many times there in Phoenix, Scottsdale, and what was that border town that we used to run way, way back in the day? Over on the New Mexico border?
Nogales, maybe? No, I don't think
Yuma?
so.
Is it Yuma?
Yuma. There's Yuma, yeah. That's very hot in Yuma. Very, very hot.
Very hot. I was going to say, super hot. We way back in the day, WWF at the time, we wrestled at a baseball stadium there. So,
awesome.
But anyway, not to reminisce, but we'll keep the interview going here.
Absolutely. Well, I got to ask you this question. When we talked to you last time, a long time ago, we were talking about the upstart process of TNA Impact Wrestling, and here we are. You're doing a whole new company, your second company of the new millennium. And my question is, has it been more challenging, less challenging, or a completely different animal in getting Global Force Wrestling off the ground than it was for getting TNA off the ground?
I guess my short answer is yes, both. All of the above. But no. In reality, there's been some things that have not been near as challenging, and then other things, it's just a completely different animal because, we started strictly only on pay-per-view back in 2002, and now we're here at 2016. We went to Las Vegas. We packaged the shows. It's just been a tedious process and maybe a laborious process, but it's something that I'm very excited about. As we continue to roll into 2016, we've got some huge things going on right now. I can't wait to share. What was it, about a month or so ago, we announced a partnership with A. Smith Productions, Arthur Smith and his team, and they are, things are just done differently at this day and age as it relates to, and I don't want to say just networks, but really media companies. It's just a completely different set of circumstances that you're dealing with, and it's something that we're excited because, you're not just launching, we'll call it a TV show. We're in the process, and have been for over 2 years now, of launching a brand.
Right.
And it's something that I've learned through the ups and downs, not just for TNA, but really in the industry and the business. And my family's been around this business over 70 years. So collectively, we've had a lot of experiences. But it is something that we're excited about. And, it's like I said, it's not just a television show. It's a complete brand with everything that goes with that, with the champions and social media and the digital space.
Right.
And just everything that really goes with it, the licensing side of things, the merchandise side of things. It's something that, a sponsorship side of things, something that I've really been working on the last 6 weeks and made great strides. But it's something that patience is not in my DNA. I've said that many times, but the progress that we're making and where we're headed is something that I'm super excited about.
All right, and I got to press you. I probably get pressed this every day, but I'll ask again. Any update on when we might be able to see Amped on television?
I will be sharing that soon. That's all I'll say. That's something. I was in New York yesterday, and that was one of the meetings. So I would love to announce it right now, but it's something that just wouldn't be productive for all involved. But it's an exciting, and we're getting there. I'll say that.
It sounds like we're getting there. That's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yes.
All right. So I got a couple other questions for you. I will let you go soon because I can tell that you're in the car and you're busy. But I wanted to ask you about a story I posted just a few weeks ago. It's a bizarre story about what happened at WrestleCon with Brian Knobbs. Is there anything you'd like to say about what had happened with horseplay and things of that nature?
It's something that me and Knobbs have known each other. They came to Tennessee, I think it was either the year I broke in or the year after, 87, 88. And we've always had I'll say a joking relationship. And I'll just say that it was all fun and games, and it's something that to make me laugh and so hard that I come to tears. It was a funny set of circumstances, and the joke continued throughout the weekend. So it was. I'll let Knobbs tell you his side because it's going to be a lot funnier if he says it.
Yeah, they tried to make it seem like you guys had heat, but I didn't buy that. I know your guys' history, so I just didn't buy that.
No, I don't think there's anything I could do or he could do for us to, stay mad at one another because we just had that relationship. we broke in at the same time. They came down from Minnesota.
Right.
And they were just learning the business, and they just got that natural aura of charisma, and then they took off and obviously had a successful career at the WWF.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you a little bit more serious with what's going on right now with TNA, and there's a lot of talk about investors or possibly selling the majority share. Is there any hope in your mind, or is it even on your radar to think that you want to absolve TNA and bring it under the Global Force Wrestling banner? This way, you'll own that footage.
I don't even give that any thought because I'll say this as it relates to business. I'm 1,000% laser focused on Global Force Wrestling and everything, and there's not enough hours in the day for me to get everything done. So for me to spend a minute thinking about those guys, I wish them all the best. I wish every promotion, I don't care if it's Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, or any other promotion throughout the world. I'm a wrestling guy, come from a wrestling family, and I want to see all promotions, and I think it's healthy for the business for everyone to thrive.
Very cool. Now, in your early interviews talking about Global Force Wrestling, you mentioned that you did not want to wrestle for your own company. But recently for Pro Wrestling Syndicate, you were involved in the ring, and obviously with WXW just recently. In fact, I think just this past weekend, you were in the ring as well. Is your opinion changed at all to getting in the ring under the Global Force Wrestling banner, or is that still something that you want to be, that you really would rather not be doing?
I'll say this. Obviously, in-ring performing was my first love. But I am 100% dedicated to wearing call it my promoter hat. But in talking to, and this started, last summer on the strictly Global Force shows, I didn't wrestle. And that's how, I want to laser focus on that. But as we've done the co-branded shows, and it really started, sort of, I guess you'd say, reignited, jump-started when I partnered with the United Kingdom promoters last fall, and we went over. And they, quite frankly, said, if we're going to do these shows, it's not an option. You got to wrestle. And then as we, you just mentioned Pro Wrestling Syndicate and MCW and these different promoters, they seem to believe, for whatever wacky reason, but no, they see value in me wrestling. And so I'm not going to argue with them. I still enjoy it. Am I in my prime? Well, I'm not joking or kidding anybody. But no, I'm very proud of the last two matches I had at WXW in Germany last weekend. And as we, head into May, I'm putting on the tights and strapping up the boots several more times. But no, my focus is strictly, if you want to say 100% Global Force Wrestling, when I'm just wearing that hat, it is me, being the businessman and promoter and not the wrestler.
Awesome. Well, we have two more questions for you, then we'll let you off the phone on your busy day today. Unfortunately,
you are staying true to your word. You're staying on schedule. I appreciate that.
You know what? There was a time I didn't, but I've learned my lesson over all these years.
That's funny.
All right. So it's a little bit of a downer question, but I have to ask you. Unfortunately, it was 1 week ago today that we learned of the untimely passing of Joni Lauer, Chyna. I know you had your ups and downs with her. Professionally, there's a lot of rumor mill involved in that as well. But your guys crossed paths even recently with more recently with TNA. My question is, I guess, any thoughts that you'd like to share on the passing of Joni Lauer?
Yeah, and this business, and I love wrestling fans because they love to argue, complain, sensationalize. I'm a wrestling fan first. I was a wrestling fan before I was a wrestler. So I get it, I understand it. But a lot was made, there was a lot of sensationalistic that people read into. But it's very unfortunate, Joni's situation and Chyna. I don't think there's anything I can really say that hadn't been said in the last week. Trailblazer, kick down doors. But the one thing that I always, it really jumped out is when we did face each other, Chyna got it. What she did, she wasn't spectacular or anything like that with her skill set, but what she did very, very good. And it speaks volumes of what, I'll call it the it factor, the talent that she had to be in a persona. I mean, she was as integral a part of DX as any member that had ever been there. And it spoke volumes. The Attitude Era she was one of those talents that really defined it. It's, very unfortunate in her situation. Joni, it's been well documented, her ups and her downs, but, I'm proud of the series of matches I had with her, and somebody interviewed me, I think it's over in Germany, and they brought up that my last WWF match was against her, right, and Joni's last match ever was against me in TNA. And that's so right. It's our paths have crossed multiple times, and my condolences go to all of her family.
Absolutely. And the final question is a little bit of I don't want to say plug time because it's a little arrogant to say, but you got just any websites you'd like to promote where fans can find out more information, purchase tickets, and also get some awesome GFW swag.
There you go. You're teeing it up. You're my man, James. No, it's real simple. I'm not a barker too much, but it is simple. Get all the latest breaking news. Go to globalforcewrestling.com. That's globalforcewrestling.com. And my Twitter is @RealJeffJarrett, and I share the news there as well. And I'll stop there because you can go to those two digital spaces and get all you need to know about myself and Global Force Wrestling. And I do appreciate you throwing that out there and teeing it up.
All right. Well, Mr. Jarrett, thank you so much for joining us. Hey, let's not make it another 13 years.
Hey, I'm going to put that on you. You've got the PR at globalforcewrestling.com for any media requests. And I'm going to put that on you, and I definitely will not be a stranger. I appreciate you having me on today.
All right, my pleasure. Hey, thank you, and stay tuned for more from Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Hey, this is the Macho Man Randy Savage, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview. Oh, yeah.
Enjoying what you're hearing? Be sure and check out WrestlingEpicenter.com on social media at Facebook.com/WrestlingEpicenter, on Twitter at James Epicenter, and of course, WrestlingEpicenter.com for 24-hour news updates, our interview archives, and all the other information you've come to expect from the Wrestling Epicenter.
Hola, this is the Wednesday Night Delight, Johnny Mundo, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Welcome back to Interactive Wrestling Radio here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. It's James Walsh, joined as always by my buddy Patrick Kelly. Patrick, are you with us?
I am here. How you doing, man?
Doing great, doing great. So we just got off the phone with Jeff Jarrett. It's our second podcast in a couple of days. I'm still doped up on these antibiotics, so if I'm a little off my game, guys, have a little bit of patience with me. It's pretty cool, though. I got to mention to Jeff that he was our 13th interview in March of 2003.
Wow.
And if you doubt that, I just posted it on YouTube. And the cool thing is, not only do I post the interview on YouTube, but I also post the wacky recap shows that we did back then. So I'm willing to bet
at some... the Daniel Edler days.
Daniel Edler days. He was funny. If you ever doubted it, go back and listen to them now. He was funny. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, how's he doing now?
I don't know. I really don't know. Daniel Edler, he was doing IPW UK for a while, and I don't know if they're still active. I just don't know.
Okay. Yeah, the last time I saw or heard anything from him, I saw a video of him getting hit by a chair. So
yeah, that was not long after we had. I say split. We weren't lovers, for God's sakes, but after we had gone the separate ways, it was not long after that he did the chair shot from whoever. I did talk to him in 2005 when we were on the Blaze, and I was like, dude, would you come on? And he's like, he seemed insulted by the question. I'm like, well, why don't you come on? Because it'd be kind of cool if we had that weird dichotomy with him calling in, but he wouldn't do it.
Mm.
I thought it'd be funny though, because there's
it would be.
such, he had whether people liked his personality or not, and I've heard a lot of people say they never understood how he talked, like they had trouble with the accent or something. It was more that he whispered, I think, than anything else. But he had a strong personality, so I think him mixing with Chuck would have been a really weird dichotomy, but there you go.
I'm actually still Facebook friends with Chuck.
I was until I started getting really political, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. That happens. It's a funny thing. You start sharing your actual opinions on stuff, and people can't handle it. So
yeah,
that's how it works. But anyway,
that's what Facebook is for.
Yeah, somebody did a graphic, a pie chart of everybody who ever engaged in a Facebook argument, and like the amount of people that it changed the minds of. And red was the color that showed the people who would never ever change their mind, and it was the entire pie graph, just a red dot like the Japanese flag.
Yep.
So that's how it is.
Okie dokie. Well, we had Jeff Jarrett on.
We did.
How's Jeff doing these days?
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett's doing great. Global Force Wrestling's hitting the road. They got some shows coming up in the Mid-Atlantic area, so you might want to be on the lookout there. That might be coming to your neck of the woods.
Might be, yeah. Actually, I just found out that WWE Battleground is going to be in D.C. in July, and I thought, man, do I want to go to that? Probably not.
Our
so
truth,
Global Force...
It'll be our truth against John Cena in the main event.
Oh, no, we already got that one. Did not go to that show. Yep. Yeah, appropriately named show. Yeah, the only thing that I'm kind of considering going for is that I want to see AJ Styles in person, because I've never seen him work in person, so that would be cool.
That would be cool. And I like that he has that mystique about him. And Jeff Jarrett actually is one of the guys who helped launch AJ Styles' career. So
absolutely.
And speaking of, by the way, he did mention during the interview, and you guys heard it already, that he will have an announcement soon about a national TV deal.
Okay. I mean, I'm all for it. I would love to have another wrestling program on TV.
We need it. We need it. I mean, we can all debate about formats. I've heard varying things about the format of the show, taking more of a reality approach to it. And, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but at this point we need different perspectives on the business. I mean, I got to tell you, I have a hole, not from my gastroenteritis or colitis or whatever the hell I've got, but I've got like a hole in my gut from not having weekly Paragon right now, because they've not yet started putting them on the Fight Network, and until they're starting to be uploaded to Fight, I haven't seen them since they left MSG. So I'm seeing all the guys post about, oh, what a great show! You guys have got to check it out. How? I don't get it. So yeah, I mean, for anybody out there, they're going to be on the Fight app. So get your gadgets out and download the Fight app, and you can catch Paragon for some good old school booking wrestling, which is pretty cool stuff.
That'd be kind of cool, yeah, because I'm always on the lookout for new wrestling. I like New Japan. I actually just watched Invasion Attack, which was their latest big show. Just watched that. Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, I watch both those shows. Lucha Underground, I watch every week. So, it's good to have, like, different flavors, different tastes, and we may not ever get anything on the level of, like, a WCW or anything like that again, but just having different interpretations of the art form is nice.
It is, and it's necessary, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think of what happened at Ring of Honor headquarters today?
What did happen at Ring of Honor headquarters today? I have no idea.
A man dressed as a panda bear claimed to have a bomb on him, and he was shot.
Like, for real, this isn't an angle? It sounds like an angle.
No, it was not Steve Corino in the costume either. I could see him doing that. In fact, I bet you he'll be doing that in the next time he does commentary. He'll be in a panda costume. But,
jeez.
No, he came in and he said he had a bomb on him, and he got shot. And as it turned out, the bomb was a flotation device. So...
Oh, okay, this sounds like, when I say this sounds like an angle, it sounds like a Chikara type of angle, almost.
This came from the mind of Mike Quackenbush.
Yeah, it sounds very kind of goofy. I don't mean to laugh. I mean, it obviously was a very serious situation. Guy walks into headquarters and threatens to blow up the place, but a guy in a panda suit walks into a building, says he has a bomb, really doesn't, and gets shot. I mean, come on, that sounds like a joke.
It would be awesome, though. I mean, I joke to people, well, why didn't they? Well, they didn't have to shoot him. That's police brutality. They should have just hit him with a chair shot. but only in the gut, because apparently that's okay. But if you hit somebody in the head with the chair, that's against the rules now.
Actually, it reminds me of WWE films. They're doing a movie with Dolph Ziggler. It's like an action movie or like a police drama or something, but it involves Dolph Ziggler playing a cop that's trying to stop something from going down at a wrestling show. So you see, like, Rusev in wrestling trunks pulling a gun out on Ziggler, and I'm like, all right, I kind of need to see this movie because that looks hysterical.
Yeah, it looks so bad it's going to be good. That's what.
Oh, yeah, Kane is a cop, which fantastic. I'm like, I'm kind of down for something stupid. Okay.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things we wanted to talk about today, since Global Force Wrestling is apparently back on the track towards becoming something, and unfortunately they've had their ups and downs, and we've discussed them. You know, unfortunately, I don't think everything panned out quite as quickly as they had hoped, or that we had hoped, because, as you said, we're junkies for more wrestling.
Right.
It sounds like they're back on track. Sounds like they got their things are finally falling into place for them, and I welcome that. I wanted to talk a little bit about Jeff Jarrett's best matches. Now,
okay.
TNA did a little bit of a overkill DVD, which Jeff Jarrett gets panned for, but the multitude of Triple H DVDs that they put out, that's just okay. That WWE puts out, because of course, he needs that many.
Wait, Jeff Jarrett got panned for the DVD that TNA released?
They complained because it was 4 discs.
Okay.
So they did do a lot of the problem with a lot of people who decide to do best of compilations is their idea of a best of compilation is the complete works.
Uh-huh.
That's essentially it. You know what I mean? It's like when you buy a best of compilation CD at you know, whatever record store still exists.
I haven't bought a CD in literally over a decade, but go on.
Well, okay, MP3s of it then. They choose 10 or 15 of the best songs that the artist did, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling compilations, they decide, here's 86 matches. It's somewhat chronological order of everything they essentially did that was any good. And it's just a little overkill, and it said you get a big thing. And that's kind of what happened with the Jeff Jarrett one, but everybody kind of was, because it wasn't WWE, everybody was rough on that. But
I don't remember hearing anything about it. I don't own that DVD, but
I own 2 copies of it. I got it from I bought it myself when it actually came out, and then I got it as part of one of the grab bag things that they used to do. The insane deals.
Right.
Yeah. I think I paid like $10, and I got like 3 sets of DVDs and 2 T-shirts and, you know, swag and all that other kind of stuff. So it was a good deal. I don't know if they still do it, but if they do, I do recommend it. Anyway, so the top 3 Jeff Jarrett matches. Did you want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I can go first. Actually, when you brought the topic up, I started like putting ideas in my head of Jeff Jarrett matches I really like. I think a lot of my favorite Jeff Jarrett matches actually happened in TNA. I think that was where a lot of his best work was. I think he was the most seasoned as a talent. You know, he was obviously the veteran and obviously very good. I think a lot of his best work came from TNA, believe it or not. And some of my favorites, if I had to pick 3 off the top of my head, his matches with Kurt Angle were very good. Like, they had one at Bound for Glory 2008 that was amazing, and they had one, a no-holds-barred match at Genesis 2009, a few months later. That was very, very good as well, and one of the best matches in company history. So, some other ones, I have to pick a third one. I'm leaning towards either the match with Raven from 2003, which is another TNA match.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Or he had an Intercontinental title match with Shawn Michaels from '95. That was very good from one of the In Your Houses. That was probably his best WWF match.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I'll go, just so it's not all TNA, I'll say the Shawn Michaels In Your House match.
So what was the order?
Let's say I'd probably put the two Kurt Angle matches at 1 and 2, and the Shawn Michaels match at 3.
Okay. I've got a little bit of a different list, but you mentioned other ones that weren't even on my list that probably would fit in there better. I'm going to go with Halloween Havoc 2000. His match with Sting was just completely insane, and a lot of people use the phrase overbooked. I never agreed that anything could possibly be overbooked, because the more imagination you can throw into stuff, the more I actually am attracted to it. And that match was awesome. That was Undertaker quality. Multiple versions of Sting run-ins. One of them was Bill Eadie, dressed as Sting, that came to the ring and all tried to attack Sting during this match, because Jarrett was doing the thing where he was pretending to be the early 90s Sting with the blonde hair at the time. So it was really well booked. A lot of people don't like it, but then again, I think that a lot of people were really unfair to WCW at that point in time.
Yeah, the whole overbooking thing, it really becomes a problem if it gets in the way of the story that they're telling. Like, there are times where John Cena will have matches and, 80 guys will run in and he still wins, and that to me is really? I just kind of roll my eyes at it. It just gets ridiculous. But I never saw the Halloween Havoc match, so I can't say, but it sounds like they were kind of referencing Sting's entire history in one match, and that's there's a cool element to that.
What they did with Sting at that time is that, and it was, I believe, one of the last times he worked WCW until he did come back and do the Millennium Final, which was a German-only show. I don't even know who paid for that money. I don't even think it was officially WCW, but he did do that, and then he did the last Nitro. So it was one of his last shows with WCW, and they told the story of he's getting a little older, how much longer can he go, and Jeff Jarrett was, believe it or not, at the time kind of playing the younger guy to rub Sting out. So there you go. That was my number 3. My number 2 is early TNA match he had with AJ Styles. We mentioned that he kind of put AJ Styles on the map. It was about February or March of 2003. The finish was
It was February of 2003. I actually have that match on DVD.
Yeah, it was he finished the match with the stroke off the middle rope. And wow, I mean, I don't know about you, but seeing Jeff Jarrett work with this young guy who could hang with him really made AJ elevated. One of the rare cases I agree that even in a loss, the younger guy got elevated.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was the case, and that's part of the problem with that type of style. It's like, all right, yeah, the flippy X Division stuff, it looks great, and everything, but when you got to get to that main event level, and you got to have matches with a little bit more drama and a little bit more meaning, it's hard to make that adjustment. And the little nuances that you need to do to be able to work that type of style. And that was the first time that AJ really showed that he could really hang at a main event level and really perform at a main event level.
Cool. And my number 1 is a little controversial, because you're not supposed to remember that the guy existed, even though I can't watch the match anymore. Starrcade 99. He had an awesome ladder match, and he was subbing for Scott Hall, who was
I remember that.
off the wagon. He had an awesome ladder match with Chris Benoit that I really thought was one of the best ladder matches I had seen. I mean, it was off the chain. It was a really good match, and I thought I'm going to put that as my number 1 Jeff Jarrett match.
Wow, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that was a very good one. I do remember that. I mean, the company was in dire straits at that point, but...
not at 99. I think they were actually... You could, if you were a WCW fan, you had a little bit of pride at that point. Because at the end of 99, there was good stories at least going on there.
See, unfortunately, the first half of 99 was so bad that I kind of gave up on the show, so I didn't watch a lot of it, but I did see Starrcade 99, and I do remember thinking that ladder match was very good.
Oh, yeah. Well, this started out so bad, like a month of building up Tori Wilson as a call girl for
David Flair.
For David Flair. Then they did like a segment where the NWO gang rapes Ric Flair in the woods, and Flair gets some random trucker to take him to the arena, and miraculously he's okay and comes down to the ring limping, but he beats the crap out of everybody. And it's like, this is horrible. Who booked this?
Oh, I just knew, okay, when I saw that the pay-per-view main event in February was Hogan and Flair again, I was like, I'm so done with this. It's not even, I mean, you want a series of matches that I got completely sick of seeing? Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. It's like, I never want to see those two work each other ever again. I swear to God.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, a year later, they were also, in the main event too.
Yeah.
It was Survivor Series. What the hell's wrong with Super Brawl 9? It was Hogan and Flair in the main event. That's when Hogan started turning babyface. And then again, I think they did it again at, like, Uncensored, or something like that, 2000. They was Hogan and Flair again. I know Hogan fought Luger at one of that, Super Brawl 10, I think, but they were still doing it on Nitro in the main event. And it's like, dude, you know, you're both older dudes. Maybe you should be working with younger dudes, because you'll make yourself probably look better by doing so.
Right, and, you know, it's one of those things where people look back on WrestleMania 8 and go, it's like, oh, it should have been Hogan and Flair, and I'm like, we got it. I was like, no, I saw it 8 billion times. Like, guys, we got it. We
it's the
know
one that got away, though, Pat. It's the one that got away.
No, it's not.
and don't forget, oh, man, and Flair got all the way to WWE, and then he had to work Randy Savage. You
no.
Oh, man, you had to work the Macho Man? Poor you.
But, oh, no. It had, like, I mean, that was Flair's best match in the WWF.
By a mile.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm including his later run with match with The Undertaker. That was nowhere near as good.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, a lot of people, you know, they have blinders on to Flair. Did you hear what he just did?
Oh, the whole kill yourself. I saw a clip of it.
Is that up there with Bleeding Virgins?
What'd you say?
Is that up there with Bleeding Virgins?
No, I think. Well, the Bleeding Virgin thing, and I'll kind of defend Flair on the Bleeding Virgin thing at least a little bit, because that was still at the point where they were not PG, and they kind of encouraged people to go off. It's kind of like the Mickie James thing at WrestleMania, where she got in trouble for doing the V-lick. And Vince, and Mickey's like, look, I mean, Vince, later in that same show, you pulled your pants down and had your son kiss your ass. So it's like, so what I did was not okay, but what you do is okay. So there's still, like, at that point, a lot of, like, this is okay, that's not okay. And I think the Bleeding Virgins thing happened after Katie Vick.
Yes, it did. Oh, yeah, a couple years after.
Yeah, okay, so I'm like, all right, so you okay Katie Vick before gets in trouble for a Bleeding Virgins line. It's like, all right. I mean, that's a little, I mean, great, it's Bleeding Virgins, it's gross, but still, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, the kill yourself thing. I think, looking at the clip, I think Flair just kind of went off, he just, I don't know, I don't think he was drunk this time. I think he was just, he got into it and just went a little crazy. I think I don't know, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Although I did watch SmackDown tonight, they did cut it out.
They said they were going to, or somebody said they were going to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did get stopped at the airport for suspected drunk and disorderly. That same night.
Oh, was that earlier that day?
Yeah.
Oh, so never mind then. Maybe I was...
Later on that day, afterwards. Which is kind of like goes hand in hand with what he was like. So I think he suspected. He didn't get arrested. Suspected drunk and disorderly.
Oh, Rick. It's like, all right, there comes a point where that stops being cute. It's like, all right.
Well, look at what we just happened. I mean, we just lost Chyna. We just lost Prince. You know, Flair's older than both of those.
Yeah.
He's almost as old as both of them combined. But we were talking, it's terrible. You know, and he's going to live forever, and, you know, I hope he does. By no means, I'm not lowering the death wish on Ric Flair, but you would think that in light of what we've seen, you know, there's a lot of musicians I'm a big fan of that died, you know, mid to late 40s in the early 50s because of their habits and never growing up, and it's sad. You know, you just got to grow up sometime, man. And Flair's well older than that. He's pushing 70.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's got to be close to 70 at this point. Although, I will say this. Have you seen any previews for Camp WWE?
Yes.
I kind of want to see that show.
It looks funny.
It looks funny. All I know is I saw a cartoon character Ric Flair humping a rock, and I'm like, all right, I need to see it. You got my attention. I'm like, all right, I'm sold.
Well, I even liked Slam City. I'll admit that that's kind of a guilty pleasure. I like that. That was funny too.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Funny. They have a DVD out if you want it. If not, I'm pretty sure they still have such shit on the network. So
I'm sure it's on the network. Yeah.
Yeah, you could always pop it on and check it out. Funny stuff. It's Looney Tunes wrestling. So
yeah, this looks like an Adult Swim show. It's like I saw a clip of a little kid, Steve Austin, going. It's like, so wait, what are you flipping off now? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just I have a fuck you reflex. Just my finger does that.
Okay, so since we're on the air, I figured I'll be incredibly unprofessional, and we'll end with this question.
Shoot. No, I did not cause the virgins to bleed.
No, me neither. I don't think I ever. No, I can tell you, I know I never have. Had to think about that. Went through the Rolodex in my mind. 1, 2, 3. That's about it. No, that's it. But no, I never did that either. You mentioned Steve Austin. There's a book coming out next week.
Okay.
It's called Behind the Shattered Glass. I
haven't even heard about it.
It's not Steve Austin's book. It's his ex-wife, Jeannie, who used to be his valet, who was also married to gentleman Chris Adams.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Now, I've seen a write-up by somebody who worked Dallas, just got honored by the Cauliflower Alley Club, one of the best guys in wrestling, James Beard, and he was promoting the book, saying that it's a great read. So, here's my question, and I mean this in all honesty, because I'm interested. But do you think, and be honest, if you don't think so, you can say so, do you think there would be any interest from the internet wrestling community in an interview with Jeannie to talk about that book? Kind of the way I felt. I'm interested, but would that be another...
It would be interesting. I think it would be interesting. I think anything bad that she would have to say about Steve, which I'm assuming is going to be in that book, given Steve's history with his wives, I think they would probably dismiss it, though. It's like, oh, Austin's still great. Like, nothing she says is going to be taken seriously, and that's part of the
Deborah, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, they dismiss her like, it's like, oh, you got beaten and abused. It's like, ah, fuck you. It's like, Steve's still great. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the right mentality to have, but okay.
Chris Benoit kills his wife. She goes on the news because they asked her to. She says that Steve Austin threatened to kill her and held a gun to her head. She's a bitch. What?
Just telling her story, man.
What did I miss here, man?
I mean, if she's lying, okay, prove it. I know I can't speak for holding a gun to her head, but I know he beat her. I mean, he got arrested for it, so.
Well, we interviewed her in 2009, and I even said to her, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get why there's so much anger towards you for sharing your life experience. There's no logic to that. But there was like venom. She's a traitor to the business. Really?
See, that's the thing. It's like, how does that betray the business? I don't understand. So it's okay for wrestling wives to get beat up? That's a thing that's supposed to be a thing? All right.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's like saying exposing pedophile priests destroyed the Catholic Church. I'm like, no, it's just exposing a problem that needs to be addressed.
Right. Right, and there's still more. Every time I turn on the news, there's even more stuff like that. It's heartbreaking from somebody who's, I'm Catholic too, believe it or not.
Oh yeah. I mean, me too. So that's why I made that comparison.
Exactly.
Like, I'm Catholic. Yes, expose them all.
Expose them all. Yeah, that's you're not going to change my worldview, my religious view either. But God, all these guys, hiding it's not going to do anybody any good.
Mm-hmm.
Get them out there. Expose them all. Expose every one of them that's dirty, because none of them should be around kids.
Nope.
Anyway, well, we started out talking about Global Force Wrestling, and we talked about pedophilia and
bleeding virgins.
Bleeding virgins and holding a gun to Deborah's head. So
Gemma, who was a valet for Jeff Jarrett.
Who was it? I was thinking about that, yeah. It was with him that the puppies thing really took off, wasn't it?
Yeah, yep. That was probably Jarrett's best run with the company.
Yeah, well, I like JEFFJARREWT, but it was kind of hokey. So
I mean, he fit in with the era that he was in. He was one of the better guys that they had during that early post-Hogan new generation phase where they had the talents. They had, they had Scott Hall, they had Shawn Michaels, they had Bret Hart, Undertaker, Mick Foley came in '96, they had Jeff. So they had a fair number of guys that were really talented. It was just getting all the components in place to actually work.
Oh, it was hokey booking. It was really hokey.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing was hokey. I mean, even one of the better things that they were doing right before Sean Waltman left, like putting him in a diaper, just hokey.
Okay.
That doesn't do anything for me. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority there, but it just seemed like it was, doesn't do anything for me.
Oh, no, you're right.
Everybody can't be Bobby Heenan, you know. The reason Bobby Heenan stuff was funny because he made it work. He was, the Henny Youngman. He was the comedian who could do all that stuff. But putting Sean Waltman in and having him cry like a baby just seems stupid. Throwing slop on Sonny's head. Does it really excite you?
No, there's not a whole lot that Sonny does these days that excites me.
Well, so I'm putting her on watch. I mentioned Death Watch. Somebody needs to get that girl in line.
Well, now I have to ask, have you seen the video?
Of course I have.
The full thing?
Oh, yeah.
Is it the train wreck that it appeared to be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, dear.
How could I put this?
I mean, I've seen the trailer, and I was like, no, we're good. That's all I need to say.
Okay, I don't watch a lot of adult films. This will be where we wrap up, because I promise. I don't watch that many adult films, but I've seen enough to know that the girl acts like it's the greatest thing they've ever had, no matter what the hell the guy's doing.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
That's part of the gig.
She ain't faking it in this movie. The chick's grunting like she's not been nailed like that in years. And it's actually very sad.
Oh, wow.
She's clearly getting into it really bad. So, anyway, that's it. We've gone really far. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that one if you're going to, be looking. Just instead find some pictures of her in '96 if Sonny's going to be your girlfriend for the evening.
Yeah, 20 years too late.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was watching, getting ready for WrestleMania 32, I was watching a bunch of old WrestleManias, and I saw her at 14 where she came out with the LOD.
Yeah.
And she had, the new gear and everything. That might be the best she ever looked.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's not that bad, but it's just like, if you're going to compare her to, 1998 Tammy, you're not going to get that.
No.
No, and we joke a lot and all this stuff, but we all know that, last call at the bar, she's coming home with us, but it's still, she's not the same as what she was, and I think that's why people are so hard on her. Plus, you shouldn't do that. I have the same opinion of Chyna that I did of Tammy. She should not be doing that kind of thing. You have a responsibility to uphold a name. Granted, she didn't bang a lot of mock wrestlers yet on film, but that really just disgusted the crap out of me. But at least she's just, doing, I think it's even the same dude in two different scenes. But it's just, there's levels.
Mm.
I'll leave it at that for now. I think we've gone a little over the line of what I like to do blue eye.
So Jeff Jarrett in Global Force Wrestling.
right up there with Tammy Sitch and what is it, Sunny Side Up in through the back door.
We're dirty old men.
Oh, well, I'm married, so I'm allowed to be. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, TNA had their best rating since January. Good for them. I mean, I hope that something happens with them. I did ask him, and we'll end with this thought back to the interview. I did ask him if he had any hope to absolve TNA. And he basically said, without saying, that he doesn't have enough time in his life to even think about TNA. So,
okay.
It doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
Yeah, we talked about that. It was like the two especially when they were doing the angle on TV, where the two factions were warring with each other, like they really should unify both brands and kind of like let Jeff take over. But, you know.
Yeah, perfect world, I think it would have happened, but it bugs me because I don't want to see Impact on the network. I want to see somebody who put their blood, sweat, and tears into it owning that footage, like Jeff Jarrett did.
Right, right.
And, you know, I'm putting that as a perspective of that Vince is interested, which I think he would be for, if anything else, for the AJ Styles and Sting footage.
Right.
But,
and there's a lot of AJ's best stuff is in TNA, and Sting has some pretty good stuff there, too, so he'd love to get his hands on it.
I think he would. And there's other, you know, the Team 3D, I'm sure he would like to get their stuff. There's a lot of guys that work WWE that came from there. And look at Eric Young, just debuted in NXT today, so.
Oh, he did? Interesting.
Yes, he did, yeah. So there's another guy who moved over who probably will end up being a big star in WWE.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like EY's best years are behind him, but okay.
Yeah, but that's based on booking from a company that was in atrophy. We'll have to see.
True, but how old is Eric?
I gotta believe that let's say he was 21 when we first saw him in 2003. Even if he was 21 then, that puts him at 36 now, and that's 36 in wrestling years where you're bouncing around the ring. So that's really about 45. So
right.
Yeah, you're right. His better days might be behind him, but we'll see.
Right. I mean, Joe just won the NXT title. I'm kind of like, my thoughts on Joe. It's like, not that I dislike Joe. It's like, I feel like Joe's best years were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 10, 11.
You said it, and it's true. It's like watching Rob Van Dam in his later years, where he can still do the spots. He just does them a lot slower than he used to.
Right. Right.
Where Rolling Thunder,
it's not quite the same.
Rolling Thunder's like a 3-hour storm, you know. There's nothing.
Absolutely.
All right. Take it easy, dude.
All right. Peace out,
everybody enjoyed listening. I hope everybody enjoyed listening to this. We're going to try to get Wes Briscoe on for our next guest from Paragon Pro Wrestling. And I hope everybody enjoys this. Check out Global Force Wrestling when it comes to a town near you. And book promotion. If you're into comedy, and if you listen to this show, you probably have to be because we're a little off the wall. Gilbert Gottfried's book, Rubber Balls and Liquor. Very funny. Pick it up. It's a lot of fun.
Interesting plug. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. With that, have a great night, everybody, and thank you for listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Peace out.